Hey everyone, Shabby Gamer here, and welcome back to our next episode of the SWE Universe Mode. It is going to be our next episode of Mayhem, and we have a cracking card set for you here this evening from Denver, Colorado. And we're going to start things off here this evening with a bit of an interesting match. We're going to see Booker T taking on Triple H. Now, of course, last week Triple H was moaning about a lack of opportunity here on Mayhem for himself. So PJ Toby has given him the chance here against a former five-time world champion in Booker T. And Booker T, of course, I don't think has actually been seen at all since night number 1 of the Universe Mode. He has been completely anonymous. So a great chance for both these guys to really show what they can do and to show to PJ Toby that they should be maybe a little bit higher up the card. But we'll find out what happens here this evening. So, of course, Triple H taking the Brock Lesnar route, as we discussed last week, where the chances don't come to you, so you go to the chances. Triple H threatened to run amok through the roster unless he got his opportunities, and PJ Toby has given him the chance. And it's happening quite a bit recently. We saw last week Edge trying to assault Shawn Michaels after his match, and Shawn Michaels just destroying Edge to the point where Edge is not even here this evening. He got caught so hard with that sweet chin music that it knocked all sense out of him. We're not going to see him here this evening. And of course, it all stems off what Brock Lesnar did before Shabby Mania. He came out, demanded an opportunity, said if he wasn't going to be given the opportunity, he was going to take it. Then he assaulted The Undertaker backstage. And it went back and forth for a few weeks, and it looked like Lesnar was on the losing side of that one before finally Lesnar took control and won a match against The Undertaker at Shabby Mania, which has gained him the #1 contendership status for the Mayhem Championship. So you can see why other people are trying this tactic. It worked for Brock Lesnar, and they think it can work for them as well. So big matches here this evening for you. Our main event this evening is going to be Kota Ibushi taking on Daniel Bryan in what should be a magnificent match. We're also going to see Eric Young taking on James Storm. We've also got for you American Alpha taking on DIY as well. That's been an interesting match. And there is some more, but I've forgotten. Lita versus Sasha Banks is also a match we've got planned for this evening as well, as Triple H makes his way to the ring. Remember, Triple H lost the match in our first Universe Mode in this 2K17 playthrough, which means that Triple H can no longer use the pedigree. I'm sort of annoyed with myself for making that a stipulation now, because it's going to be a bit annoying going through, isn't it? But there we go. He does have new finishing maneuvers now that he can use. He has different finishing maneuvers he can use, and he'll be hoping to show them to us here this evening, I suppose. Triple H joining the crew of incredibly long entrances for not a lot of reason. There's quite a few of these guys around. This is going to be an interesting one, very much an Attitude Era style match, of course. At that point in time, Triple H, one of the top men in WWF at the time, and of course Booker T, one of the top men over in WCW as well. And then of course Booker T came over to WWE, didn't necessarily get the best time when he was in WWE. He had a good run for a little bit of time. He had runs against obviously the Rock, which was pretty cool and stuff like that. And then he also, of course, ended up in a tag team with Goldust as well in the long run. So it was a bit of a rough one, wasn't it, in the career of Booker T. But well, it's doing well for him now, isn't he? He's got his own training school. He's got his own promotion. He's commentating on Raw with David Otunga being away recording a film. The worst thing is that Booker T is commentating on Raw while David Otunga's away recording a film. Yet, Booker T is probably a lot better than what David Otunga is when he's there. I'm not a fan of David Otunga. I find him incredibly boring. Incredibly. As Triple H now assaulting Booker T on the outside. Hunter now sending Booker T face first off the ring post. And the referee trying to get control of this match back, but at the moment, Triple H is more about trying to hurt Booker T than he is about trying to get back into this ring. And that's what I said, he's very much trying to take the opportunity where he can. And I think he's trying to send a message here, not only to Booker T, not only to the other people on the roster, but to PJ Toby as well, saying, I deserve better than this. And Booker T's been given a free opportunity here, really. Booker T's only here to give Triple H an opponent, and Booker T could be the one to take full advantage of the opportunity he's been given, and maybe Booker T could be the one to end up getting a boost up the roster from this. I'm still a bit perplexed why PJ Toby picked Booker T. I don't know. It's a bit harsh. I'm quite ambivalent about Booker T. I'm not sure how I feel about him. I'm not sure if I like him or if I dislike him or what, to be honest with you. He's a little bit up and down for me. I'm not entirely sure how I sort of feel about him. But there you go. Booker T now back up on his feet. Triple H catching him with a boot into the gut. Now sending Booker into the turnbuckle. Spins him round. Triple H Saito suplex, folding Booker T in half. And now requesting him to suck it. Which is always a nice thing to do, isn't it? Booker T tripping Triple H over. It sounded dodgy, didn't it? I didn't mean it like that. It's made me sound really dodgy now, hasn't it? Booker now stamping on the back of the knee of Triple H. And of course, Triple H, the part leader of D-Generation X. And of course, if you've not seen it, just time for a cheap plug. If you've not seen it, our previous episode on this playlist was the Mayhem Special Hardcore Revival. We crowned our first ever Hardcore Champion in this SWE Universe mode. Unfortunately, Regal will not be here this evening because he took a beating, in fairness. Over the entire evening, so he's not going to be here this evening to defend his championship, but it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it yet. We had 16 men across 4 Fatal 4-Ways. The winners of the 4 Fatal 4-Ways were added to another Fatal 4-Way, which was the main event of the evening, and it was, like I said, a hectic night. There was a lot of action, and we crowned our first ever Hardcore Champion here for the Universe mode, and that Hardcore Championship is going to be solely only on Mayhem, and we are going to have the 24/7 rule on that one as well. So although William Regal's not here at the moment, if somebody was to attack him where he is now, they could pin him and win the championship. But I'm sure we'll see a lot more of that as we go along. As Triple H now working on that leg, and of course, like I said, Triple H does now have 2 brand new finisher maneuvers because of losing the pedigree like he did to Seth Rollins at WrestleMania in our first Universe mode. There's a big spine buster, of course. That is one of his signature maneuvers. And it'd be interesting to see exactly what maneuver he has got saved up as his finisher. But he might not get an opportunity here as Booker T locking the arms into a camel clutch submission. Can't imagine Triple H is going to kick out. No, he uses his strength to slide out the back and take Booker T down. Clubbing blow to the back now, bringing Booker back up to his feet. And now here is going to be one of his new finish maneuvers. It is going to be a crossface submission hold. I don't know why. I just felt this suited him. I think he's used it before a few times, hasn't he? But is it going to be enough to keep Booker T down? That's the question. Booker doesn't look like he's close to getting to the rope, but he does manage to roll through it. Booker now with a boot to the gut of Triple H, but Triple H fighting back with the right hand in the gut of his own. Booker with that massive knee to the side of the face. I think he was going for a big kick there, but Triple H caught him, taking him up into a pile driver. Wow. Triple H is not messing around with that pile driver. There's the pin. 1, 2. Oh, that was almost enough. That pile driver was almost enough for Triple H. Who now drops back into the corner and again just taunted the grounded Booker T, who was playing possum, catching Triple H, takes him up into that slam. Now bringing Hunter back up to his feet. Ooh. Waiting for him again, but Triple H, great awareness to avoid it. And now again taking Booker up. I thought he was going to go for another power drive. Went for a power bomb, but I think Booker reversed that into a facebuster. And now Booker is heading up top. He is heading up top. What's Booker got planned here? Diving shoulder block, taking Hunter down. Running elbow drop to the back of the ground of Triple H as well. Does Booker T have a scissor kick though? Does he have one in his arsenal ready to go? If he does, he could win this match. There's a big spine buster. Come on, Booker, where are you? Have you got it? No, Triple H forced him away. Playing possum. That big spine buster is a great job when you hit your back on the ground that hard. Does a great job of just ejecting all the oxygen from your body. Triple H somehow managing to retain enough to have the energy to get back up on his feet now and even taunt while Booker T is grounded. Maybe not the best idea. Yeah, Booker get a great chance to recover as well. And now catching Triple H into a bookend out of nowhere. Booker T with the bookend on Triple H. This could be all. There's the pin. 1, 2. Oh my god, Triple H kicked out. Triple H just kicked out on the brink of a 3 count. Booker T can't believe it. He thought he had this one won there. Just stamping on the back of the arm of Triple H. Just clever maneuver because Booker knows if Triple H is going to be using that crossface as a new finisher maneuver, then damaging the arm of Triple H is definitely a good thing to do. Right hand to the gut there by Triple H. Now more strikes into another big spine buster on Booker T. Is that going to be enough to finish Booker T off? Triple H now dragging Booker away from the ropes. Now drops into the pin. After that spine buster. 1, 2, and 3. Triple H has won this one. Triple H taking the opportunity that PJ Toby has afforded him. Hunter doing fantastically well. Proved a point here to PJ Toby, and I'm sure he's going to want to prove even more. Triple H, what's he... decided not to leave the ring. Triple H is going to continue the assault here on Booker T, adding insult to injury and really making PJ Toby think a lot about this situation. Frustrations running wild here. And here is our second match of the evening. It's going to be a chance to showcase the women here on Mayhem as Sasha Banks takes on Lita. And here we go. Ready to go already. I do love it when we don't use created wrestlers, because you get much quicker loading screens and entrances. Much quicker. And here, of course, is Sasha Banks, someone who will be hoping to force her way into the Women's Championship picture. However, I'm pretty sure over on Showdown, she's going to have some issues she's going to want to clear up in a few days' time with, of course, Charlotte. If you didn't see last week's Showdown, it was Charlotte versus Sasha in the main event. And Charlotte picked up the victory in that match. But not only picked up the victory, but after the conclusion of the match, continued to assault the grounded Sasha Banks. So as much as Sasha wants to be involved in the Women's Championship picture here on Mayhem, I'm sure she'll definitely want to be sorting out some unfinished business on Showdown in a couple of days' time. And here is her opponent, Lita. I can never pronounce her name right, so it always comes at Amy Dumbass. But interesting one, this one. This really could go... This could go either way, really. You've got the... They're both quite evenly sort of matched, in fairness to them, ability-wise. And that's the thing you got to think about Lita. Lita was a very good female wrestler in her time. But the actual female division at this age is a lot more competitive. And I think that might possibly give Sasha a slight advantage, because she's faced a lot of very, very good talent. Whereas Lita in her time, if she wasn't facing Trish, there wasn't a lot of fantastic talent to go against. I know it's a little bit harsh. You had the likes of Ivory and Jackie. See, the thing is, I think I can name more good female wrestlers that are currently wrestling now than I can name good female wrestlers from the past, if that makes sense. I don't know, I might be a little bit harsh. I think women's wrestling, of course, as we know, has really developed tenfold over the last 2 or 3 years. Maybe the last 5 years, in fairness, because there was a big build towards it, getting all the ladies into NXT and developing them with training from obviously Sarah Amato and people like that. It has definitely improved the division. But of course, over the last couple of years, we've really seen that improve, and we've seen an influx of top ladies, not only now in NXT, but also on the main roster. And the thing is, you look at it, and like when the draft happened last year, as there's just sirens everywhere outside now. Literally 2 sirens have just come down my road, one after the other. That's really weird. 2 ambulances, and then they literally just turned around. I don't know what's going on down there. Some mental party, whatever's going on. I'm just like someone's been drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah. I was when the draft happened last year, and we'd already obviously lost Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and we'd already lost Becky Lynch up to the main roster already. Then Bayley left, Alexa Bliss left, and Carmella left. And you sat there thinking, you got Asuka, but there's not a lot of other talent. And I was a little bit worried for the women's division. I watched a few matches, and they were slow and sloppy. And you have people like Aliyah, Liv Morgan, Peyton Royce, and Billie Kay. And I was thinking, the women's division is really not up to scratch compared to what it was. Then you look at it a year later, and my God, the ability these ladies have got now, they have improved so much, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see a few more drift up to the main roster pretty soon. I'm going to assume with the NXT TakeOver match being a fatal 4-way again for the championship, which is Nikki Cross, Ruby Riott, and Ember Moon versus Asuka. I'm going to assume that's a way of taking the belt away from Asuka without Asuka actually being pinned, and then Asuka can float up onto the main roster, which I'm hoping she'll end up on SmackDown, to be honest with you, because SmackDown are a bit low on numbers in the female division. And then I think Asuka at the moment in NXT is a problem because she's just too good. She's been booked so heavily that there's not a lot of space for anybody else to really legitimately do anything. So with Asuka leaving and going to the main roster, that means that people like Billie Kay and Peyton Royce and Ember Moon and Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott can really show the ability they have. There's no way we're going to get a third ambulance come around this corner, surely. There is. What the hell is going on down there? It's a tiny little side street and 3 ambulances have just gone around in half a minute. I would go and have a look, but I'm wearing a onesie, so and I'm on a main road, so I might look like a bit of a weirdo, but you know. Am I seeing things? I don't know why anyone would call 3 ambulances. Something crazy must be going on. Lita heading up to the top rope. Is she going to go for a moonsault? She does. We've already seen a twist of fate as well. This should be all in theory. 1, 2, and 3. And it is all. Lita picks up the 3 count over Sasha Banks, who's not on the best vein of form. Like I said, losing to Charlotte last week on Showdown and then being assaulted after the match. Now losing here to Lita on Mayhem. 2 very capable women she's lost to. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know whether Charlotte is on her mind a bit too much here this evening. Well, I'm sure she'll try and get some retribution in a couple of days' time on Showdown. And here is our next match of the evening. It is going to be DIY Tommasso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano taking on American Alpha, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. And here we go. DIY, not been the best team so far. They've had the odd opportunity here and there, but it's not really gone fantastically well for them. So they'll be hoping to change that here this evening, but by no means is this match going to be a pushover for them. They had the opportunity on night number 1 to go for, of course, the tag team championships, but it never really panned out for them. The belts, of course, were won by the Briscoe brothers. And now they have a chance to force their way back into the championship picture with a win here over American Alpha, which is not going to be easy at all. I'm looking forward to this one, actually. This is going to be a normal tag team match as well. Not a... we've not gone for the old Extreme Rules Tornado, because based on last week's episode of Throwdown, that if you've seen, you'll know that I got incredibly annoyed about everything. So we're going to go back and try a normal tag team match, see if that does work. At the moment, nothing seems to work, to be honest with you. But hopefully it is going to work. As the bell goes, we are underway. Johnny Gargano and Jason Jordan to start things off. Referee breaks that one up. Clean break as well. And this could be quite good. Good wrestling ability by all four of these guys, of course. American Alpha might have the big advantage on mat-based wrestling. But I've got a feeling that Gargano and Ciampa are going to have the experience edge here, because they've both spent a lot of time up and down the country in various independent promotions. And I know Gargano has been part of various tag teams as well, of course, teaming up with guys like Chuck Taylor. I can't remember what that team is called, actually. I want to say Fist. I might be wrong. Also part of a stable, if I remember correctly. It was Gargano, Chuck Taylor and Rich Swann were a stable in Dragon Gate USA, I think, called Ronin. That's literally off the top of my head. I don't know if that's true. I'm pretty sure that's true. So I remember that Rich Swann used to come out singing the theme. They had no theme music. It was just Rich Swann coming out like beatboxing and singing, which he's not necessarily very good at, to be brutally honest with you, but it was fun nonetheless. Jordan now hoisting Tommasso Ciampa up into a powerbomb. So yeah, let's see if a normal tag team match works a bit better than... I don't know, nothing seems to be working so far, does it? And tag team Tornado Extreme Rules is a little bit rough. It's all down to how the game loads, I think, because the AI seems to bug every now and again. And I think it's down... If you restart the match, it still stays bugged. If you come out of the match and reload the match, it seems to then work a little bit differently, and I don't know why. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. But I just really wish these would work. I really, really do. That's the frustrating thing about it all. Right hand to the gut of Jason Jordan there by Tommasso Ciampa. Went for the clothesline. Jordan managed to roll it through into a neck breaker. Jordan now bringing Ciampa back up to his feet. Sending Ciampa into the corner, and then a running spear into the corner as well. Followed up by a belly-to-belly suplex. Jason Jordan really showing some great work here. There's the pin on Ciampa. Referee's very, very slow down, and Jordan gets the 2 count. I think at some point in the near future, we are going to bring in a ranking system, a proper ranking system that we're going to do rather than the game. I'm still coming up with a way to do it properly. There's that finisher maneuver there by American Alpha. Jordan has Gable out of this. And there we go. What a great win. A tag team match worked. Oh my god. A tag team match worked the way it's supposed to. And we got a victory that wasn't dodgy. Oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm so happy right now. It's a great win here for American Alpha, but the game worked the way it's supposed to work. I'm sorry, I'm stunned. And that's a terrible point in time where you're stunned when things actually work correctly. But I'm so happy. What a win for American Alpha. And here's our next match of the evening. It's going to be another former TNA match, I suppose, if you look at it that way, as Eric Young takes on James Storm. However, Eric Young will not be alone as Sanity will be joining him at ringside. And here we go. Finally, that was a hell of a loading screen, I tell you. A hell of a loading screen. Anybody could go for it. And here comes James Storm on his beer car. I do love this entrance, I really do. It's just a shame it doesn't stay there. That'd be pretty cool if it did. And it's going to be an interesting one. Like I said, it's a former TNA, basically. Both these guys former TNA. And I think we're going to see some good stuff. So here we go. Two former TNA stars. Doing battle. Both guys brand new to the Mayhem roster. And of course, we saw James Storm last week face off against Shawn Michaels in a losing effort. So I'm pretty sure James Storm will want to try and show what he can do here this evening against Eric Young. This is Eric Young's first match since joining the Mayhem roster. Of course, he came from the undrafted pool, whereas James Storm and Bobby Roode came over from Throwdown. Eric Young now bringing James Storm back up to his feet, a headlock. James Storm now sending Eric Young against the ropes again, bringing him back, launching him over the top of his shoulders, crashing to the ground below. And with the rest of Sanity at ringside, will that give Eric Young a mental advantage going into this one? I think it probably will do, because James Storm is going to have to keep an eye on these guys. He knows they're going to want to try and get on top of him, and he knows they're going to want to try and distract him and try and basically help James Storm win in whatever way he is, trying to help Eric Young win, should I say, in any way that he possibly can. James Storm now just wrenching that leg of Eric Young. And to tell the truth, James Storm is firmly in control of this one at this point in time. Making his way up onto that top turnbuckle. And Sanity's being very well behaved on the outside. Of course, they know that, well, basically getting involved in this match will end up getting them sent from ringside. It's probably the reason why they're not getting too involved. They're there's me saying they're not getting too involved. And Killian Dain up on the apron and allowing Eric Young to catch a hold of James Storm. And that deadlift backdrop was very vicious. But it has given Eric Young a chance to try and get back and control this match. But again, James Storm taking control. And every time that Eric Young looks to try and take control, James Storm just seems to just grab it back straight away. Storm dropping an elbow on the back of the head of Eric Young now as well, before bringing Young back up to his feet. Young, though, with the dragon screw, taking James Storm down. Brings Storm back up to his feet before Storm catching Eric Young with the jawbreaker, then a spinning heel kick. And now Killian Dain sending a chair into the ring behind the referee's back. The referee's not seen it. And now Killian Dain up on the apron once again, distracting the referee as Eric Young into a sit-out powerbomb on James Storm. James Storm again reversing, but Eric Young catching with that big right hand. Now up onto his back. What has Eric Young got planned here? Spinning him around into a neck breaker. Young clubbing blows against the back of James Storm, now bringing him up to his feet. Massive right hand followed by another forearm. Eric Young into the corner with a clothesline and a running bulldog from the corner as well. Eric Young now in full control of this match. It's taken him a while to get there. Tripping James Storm over now, looking to lock in a figure four leg lock there by Eric Young on James Storm. Is James Storm going to want to live to fight another day, or can he afford not to lose 2 matches in 2 on Mayhem? And he has managed to roll it over, and Eric Young's able to break his legs away. Of course, if you do rotate the figure four over like that, roll it over, then it does reverse the pressure onto the person who put the hold in. James Storm now taking Eric Young down, clubbing blow against the back, and again another right hand as well. Eric Young launching James Storm to the outside. And look at the rest of Santi here just staring down at James Storm, of course not touching him because they know he would end up getting him disqualified. You don't want to be disqualified, do you? Knee to the face there by Eric Young, who still continues the assault, dragging James Storm in for the clothesline. Eric Young getting forced away there by James Storm. Storm bringing Young back up to his feet. Big right hand now. Storm with Young up on his shoulder. Spins him round into that sidewalk slam. And again, now this time it's Alexander Wolfe distracting James Storm. And this is allowing Eric Young to get back up to his feet slowly in the background. Young is back up. And Young again getting up behind James Storm. Into a backbreaker. And Sanity did a fantastic job here of just distracting James Storm while Eric Young looks to try and catch up, but Storm catching Eric Young with the dragon screw, doing some damage to the knee. Insanity doing a good job so far. It's just a very tricky match here for Eric Young, who now drags James Storm into the middle, into another backbreaker. I'm quite sure what Eric Young's finisher is on this game. I'm quite sure. Of course, his finisher in real life is the... I got a feeling it might be this figure four, you know. It's the second time we're going to see him lock in this figure four leg lock. I reckon that's his finisher on this, you know. Of course, his real finisher now is the wheelbarrow neck breaker, isn't it? But this is the second time James Storm has been locked in to this figure four. I'd be surprised if he doesn't tap out this time. And again, though, James Storm able to roll it over and reverse the pressure, like I said earlier on Eric Young. Both guys back up to their feet. James Storm went for the running knee strike. Eric Young avoids it. Now taking Storm up into another backbreaker. James Storm has got to be feeling some pain in that back. That's the third of those backbreakers we've seen. Okay. His finishing manoeuvre is the pile driver. Of course it is. What he used to use in TNA. And that could be enough for Eric Young to pick up the victory here. There's the pin. 1, 2, and 3. And Eric Young does pick up a big victory. His first appearance on Mayhem and his first win as well. Of course, James Storm now featured in 2 back-to-back episodes of Mayhem and lost in both of them. However, he has been facing off against, of course, Shawn Michaels last week and this week, Eric Young. Not only Eric Young, but of course Sanity at ringside as well. So you can sort of understand why James Storm has lost 2 matches in a row. But you try telling that to the championship rankings. And now it is time for our main event of the evening. Kota Ibushi takes on Daniel Bryan. And here we... And of course Daniel Bryan, former television champion here as well. So both guys really want to try and prove themselves, don't they? Want to get themselves back inside some championship pictures. And to do that, they're going to need the victory if they can get one here against the other man. This is really do or die for both these guys. Of course, Kota Ibushi still has chances if he wants to go for potentially the Cruiserweight Championship once again. Of course, we already have crowned our #1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship, as you saw on Octane a couple of weeks back. And Daniel Bryan, I don't think we're going to get him involved in the television championship again for a while, because he's had a lot of chances, hasn't he? Of course, he had the belt, lost the belt, and then he had that cage match at Shabby Mania to try and get the belt back as well. He was unsuccessful. But then again, a big victory here, you never know what Daniel Bryan could achieve. And it's possible here, especially with doing damage to the arms and legs early on. Of course, Kota Ibushi is very, very well known for his strikes. So taking him down like that will definitely be a good idea for Daniel Bryan. But again, both these guys actually very similar in style. Daniel Bryan, again, also using a lot of strikes. So it's going to be in Kota Ibushi's interest to try and damage him as well, really. Kota now bringing Daniel Bryan back up to his feet. And catch him with that German suplex. And now reverse dragon sleeper. Daniel Bryan stamping on the back of the head and dropping a knee on the back of Kota Ibushi as well. Kota Ibushi, big right hand now getting around the back of Daniel Bryan into a half and half suplex. Both guys now grounded. It's a tricky one, this one. Kota Ibushi bringing Daniel Bryan back up to his feet. Bryan catching Kota with the jawbreaker. And a Saito suplex there by Daniel Bryan as well. I think Kota Ibushi would be good to go for the television championship at some point. Don't know who's going to be the #1. We decided #1. Yeah, we did, didn't we? It was Jericho. Jericho! It was Jericho, wasn't it? Last week in the triple threat match, didn't we? We had that. It was Jericho. Yeah, so Jericho's going for the television championship. These two guys... I love the idea of this. I might try and push this all the way through to the pay-per-view, these two guys go at each other. Kota Ibushi now. Northern Light suplex taking Daniel Bryan down once again. Rolling Daniel Bryan over now. Kota dragging him closer to the middle of the ring. Now rolling him back over again. It's a little bit crazy here. Dropping an elbow into the inside of the knee of Daniel Bryan. Bryan with a boot to the face of Kota Ibushi. Bryan hopping over the top. Is he looking for a springboard frog splash to the back of Kota Ibushi as well? Daniel Bryan, clever move, of course, when he looks to lock in the yes lock or the no lock or the label lock or whatever they want to call it these days. Doing damage to the back and the arms is definitely a good way to go. As Kota Ibushi taking Bryan up, but Bryan fighting his way free with the knee to the head now, following up with his strikes to the grounded Kota Ibushi. And Kota Ibushi will be more than aware of these strikes, considering it's a phase of move that he likes to use himself quite often as well. Daniel Bryan locking in a knee bar on Kota Ibushi. And again, wise move. We know that Kota Ibushi likes to utilise high octane springboard striking ability as well. And by damaging the leg, damaging the knee, you're going to reduce that. A payday kick out of nowhere by Kota Ibushi drops Daniel Bryan on his backside. Now Kota bringing Bryan back up. I don't know, I was looking for that, like a full-way slam or something, but Daniel Bryan fights free into a stroke. Now Daniel Bryan is in an awful position if he's going to try and lock in that label lock. He's not. He's taken... What on earth was he going for there? See, I understand what the game does, right? I understand what it tries to do with the reversal to the finishes as Ibushi takes Daniel Bryan up into an Ibushi bomb. Essentially a sit-out last ride powerbomb. 1, 2... And Kota... Oh, no. No, he kicked out. He only went and bloody kicked out. Wow. Yeah, I was just saying, I understand what the game likes to do when it does the reversals, but when the reversal that it gives you doesn't match what the finisher maneuver would be. Like, of course, Daniel Bryan would have gone for a label lock there, but instead he sort of took him up into some bizarre maneuver that he wouldn't have done in the first place. So it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But diving headbutt or flying goat, whatever WWE called it, which I'm surprised they allowed him to use, considering the risk to damage to the head and the Benoit situation. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that word on this channel. In fairness, I like Benoit. I've said this a lot of times. What Benoit did out of the ring shouldn't take away from what he did in the ring, but what Benoit did in the ring shouldn't take away from what Benoit did outside the ring, if that makes sense. But if you keep the two things as separate, you can appreciate how good the man was as a wrestler. But of course what he did was terrible. But I can't defend the actions, but when you think the fact that he was out of it so much brain-wise, as was proved when he had his autopsy, he was not there. He was at the brain of like an 86-year-old with Alzheimer's. He really should have been under supervision and medical care, really. That's down to, well, just not being tracked medically, I suppose. Obviously, things have changed a lot better now, but it's, I say you can't defend what he did, but when you look at his mental state when he did it, it was very much a situation where I don't think he was in sound mind or body, in fairness. Daniel Bryan up on the top now, looking potentially again for another flying goat, and hits it once again. More diving headbutts. You see he's shaking himself here, Daniel Bryan, dropped to the ground. I think Ibushi's actually bleeding. You see a bit of blood rolling down the side of his nose. Daniel Bryan only with a 2 count. Now Bryan lining up once again. We've already seen it once. The running knee strike, taking Ibushi down. I'm sure that's going to be enough. There's the pin. 1, 2, and 3. And Daniel Bryan picks up the victory here in the main event of Mayhem. Great victory. Great victory for him. And that's the victory he needed. Like I said, he's not had the best of time over the last few months with the television championship. Won the belt for a short period of time before losing it to Finn Balor and not being able to retrieve it in that cage match at Shabby Mania. And Daniel Bryan is victorious here in the main event of Mayhem. So guys, that is the end of this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, then please do hit that like button. It does really help us out. And of course, if you are new around here and you want to see some more, then hit that subscribe button as well. It's been pretty good. There is an overview of the match. Like I said, I think I might try and push this one forward all the way to our next pay-per-view, because I think this will be a cracker. I really do. But of course, let me know what you want to see in the comment section down below as well. Of course, like I said before as well, I have now updated the Mayhem side of the roster. So if you want to check out exactly who the champions are and who's currently on the roster for Mayhem, then of course there is a link in the description below to the blogger page. Check that out. In theory, by now, I think I would have done all the other rosters as well, so you'll be able to see exactly who the champions are at this point in time, and of course who's on the roster. So if you ever have any ideas and you want to double check who's on the shows, then of course you can click over there and see that. But that's the end of this one. I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in a couple of days' time for our next episode of Showdown.